by Scan, which is super easy and right on your phone. And for anybody worried about prescription costs, I say, hey, we got you with low-cost copays on many medications.
Let's talk about making things easier. Walgreens is here. Fill your way and save at walgreens.com/Medicare. See pharmacists for restrictions and exclusions.
Broadcasting live from the Strike and Spare studios, it's time for the Power Hour with Sammy Kincaid, highlighting and focusing on women in sports around the country, from the pros to the amateurs, from high schools to colleges. Call the Power Hour now on the Cure Brand Hotline, 615-844-5600, 615-844-5600. Now here's your host for the Power Hour, Sammy Kincaid.
Welcome to Power Hour with Sammy Kincaid. I'm Sammy Kincaid in the Strike and Spare studio. If you want to call in, talk to us on the Cure Hotline, 615-844-5600. Again, that's 615-844-5600. And we have got a packed show for you today. Really excited to be joined in just a little bit by Maddie Glab. She's the Bills team reporter. And then a little bit later, we're going to have Cindy Ball Malone, Coach Bear from University of Central Florida, joining us, talking about her playing days, her coaching days now, and just really how she got to where she is. But before we talk to Coach Bear, I just mentioned we're going to talk to Maddie Glab. Maddie, you're with me now. How you doing?
Doing good, Sammy. Thanks for having me on today. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. With everything that's been going on, I was like, I need to reach out to Maddie. I just can't even imagine. Probably your inbox has been pretty full with people reaching out to you lately.
Yeah, it's been a wild last couple of weeks and really a wild season when you look at everything that the Bills have had to endure this season, specifically last week. I mean, the good thing is we've heard so many amazing updates about Damar Hamlin, and the latest one we got was that he has now been discharged from the hospital and is at home in Buffalo with his parents. So we are just so excited to hear that news. It seems like, the sun is out today. We haven't seen the sun, I think, in 12 days here in Buffalo, and it just seems like things keep getting better and better. And we have a playoff football game this weekend, so also really excited for what's in store in the postseason for this Buffalo Bills team.
See, Maddie, I don't know why you had to remind me that you have the playoff game this weekend, and I'm happy that the sun's shining and he's home, but that playoff game is against my team that I grew up as a fan as, and this is not the week that I want to be playing the Bills with all of America rallying around you guys right now.
I know. There's definitely a lot of energy heading into this game, coming off of an epic final game of the regular season against the Patriots. I mean, we had Nyheim Hines, our kick returner, take 2 to the house last game, and we're riding on that high and hoping that this team can show up again on Sunday at home and just shock the world again. We heard that Tua Tagovailoa is not going to be in this game. He was ruled out by Mike McDaniel earlier today. So, we'll see who they have at quarterback and what type of challenge it's going to be, because you can't count Miami out, though, because they have Tyreek Hill, they have Jalen Waddle, they have a lot of talent on offense. So it's still going to be a tall task, but I think they're excited to take on an opponent that they're pretty familiar with. It's going to be their third time playing Miami this season.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited to see that one, and there's going to be a lot of eyes on that game, and just with so much good news this past week. But I do want to take it back a little bit. Last week, I did have an athletic trainer on. Next week, Star Physical Therapy will be on, and just really talking about the importance of that athletic trainer. Kind of walk me through. I don't want to completely rehash, but I'm sure it was a very different – everyone saw on TV, on national TV, those fans. I mean, it was very emotional just as somebody watching from TV. I can't even imagine on the sidelines. Where were you at? Kind of walk me through what it was like that game for you.
Yeah, so I actually don't travel to our games because I host a pregame and 2 postgame shows from our facility. So like many people, I was watching on TV. We were preparing for our postgame show. We had just finished up with our pregame show as the game, kind of was in the first part of the game when that happened. And you're just eyes glued to the TV. You have no idea what's going on, no idea what's going to happen. But then you get the news that, hey, this game is not going to happen tonight. We don't know if it's going to be made up, but we are not going to play the rest of the game tonight. And it really didn't shock me because I know the type of team that we have in Buffalo. I know our coaching staff. I know how much they truly care about our guys, and I know how much our players truly care about each other. So, you know, when the time started to go on and the game was up in the air, it was no shock to me that, hey, DeMar is more important in this situation. We can figure this game out later on. But, yeah, hats off to our athletic training staff, our medical staff. I've said it multiple times this week. You know, those guys are usually the unsung heroes of every single year just because of the injuries that they have to deal with. And our team has had quite a few injuries this year, so they've been very busy in that facility this year, and I love that they get that type of recognition that they deserve.
Absolutely. A lot of people see athletic trainers taping ankles or getting the ice baths ready, and I don't think it always registers that they have to know how to handle situations like that and be able to be in those crisis moments. And just whenever we were talking to the athletic trainer last week, she was saying that it had to have been at least 20 rounds of CPR that had to have been done on the field right there with how long they were performing that. And you just don't, I mean, she was saying it's a good day whenever you tape ankles, but it sometimes just, I think, doesn't register to people how prepared they have to be in those kind of situations.
Yeah, definitely. We hear from our head coach a lot, a term called 111th, and it's about doing your job. You're 111th on the field, and that's what our trainers did in that moment. That's what our medical staff did in that moment. They didn't think, they just acted. They knew what they had to do. They knew where they had to go. They knew what was needed to be done in those quick moments after DeMar collapsed on the field. And our general manager, Brandon Bean, and our head coach, Sean McDermott, has also shouted out Corey, who's from our equipment staff, and he was the one who got the helmet off of DeMar and talk about getting the screws out really quickly. He succeeded in that job, which then allowed the athletic training staff and the medical staff to continue on getting DeMar's pulse back, doing CPR on him, and then getting him into that ambulance in order to go to the hospital. So hats off to them. I mean, they're incredible people. I get to see them day to day here in the facility, and I'm just so proud of them. They're great to be around, and we do have a lot of wonderful, amazing people inside of this building. And I love, like I said, I love that they're getting some recognition in this too.
And you've as well worked for a team for majority of your career. And I think the really special thing about that is just the relationships that you get to build with staff and the players. And you really get to know them on a completely different level than if you are on the outside covering the team. How would you say you've really seen people see those people, their personalities, and just who they are as a person for DeMar or for that training staff or the equipment staff? How have you really seen those people be seen as people and not just their profession?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when you have a situation like that happen, of course, those people have to do their job. But I think the cool thing is you get to hear the stories after that. You get to learn about who that person is. You get to learn about what makes them tick. You get to learn about what they do, on the daily. And I just think that's one of my favorite things. It's one of my favorite things here working for the Bills is, like you said, getting to know the people behind the profession. And the people behind the profession on our medical staff are just people that are a joy to be around. They're people that sacrifice a lot of their time and a lot of their life in order to be in the facility to make sure our guys are ready to go every single game day. They're people who are here around the clock if they need to be in order to give players rehab. And so, again, just great people inside of this building. And it goes from the top down. It starts with our ownership, then it goes to our general manager and the scouts and the coaching staff and the assistant coaches. You get that trickle-down effect here in this building, and it really feels like one big family. And it's full of high-character people because that's the type of players that are in this building, and that's the type of people that are in this building as well.
And we have TVs on in the studio while we're doing the show, and right now they're actually talking about DeMar and just what he has said about go get the job done this weekend. And does that surprise you that the first thing he wanted to know was if they won the game, and how he's now approached like, hey, just get the job done, and he's still so football focused, and you can tell he really wants to be there with his brothers.
Yeah, no surprise at all. He's somebody who is married to the game. He loves the sport. He loves being a Buffalo Bill. He's had an amazing opportunity this season to kind of drop into a starting role for the Bills, because we had one of our starting safeties go out for what we thought would be the entire season, but he's actually going to start practicing today. So it's kind of cool to see him step in Damar Hamlin's absence. This is a veteran who kind of took Damar Hamlin under his wing and then unfortunately got injured. So Damar Hamlin took his place, and now he's taking Damar Hamlin's place. So of course Damar wants this team to keep going, to keep fighting, to keep playing, because that's the type of guy that he is. He's got an amazing smile. He's got an amazing personality. He's also got some amazing dance moves as well on the field.
What would you say is your favorite dance move you've seen him do?
Oh gosh, there are too many to count. So every Friday practice, we get to only watch a portion of practice. It's called Fast Friday. So Fridays are a little bit quicker here in our building, just to get out, just to get home and get some of that family time in before you have Saturday and before you have a game on Sunday, or before you're traveling on Saturday to wherever you're playing on Sunday. And the stretch lines on Friday are absolutely epic. They play the best songs that are out, and the guys go wild. So I always lock eyes on a couple guys, and Damar Hamlin is one of those guys, because you never know what he's going to do, but whatever he hits it right.
That's absolutely fantastic. Those are some of the most fun times being on the inside, is just really getting to see those personalities. One that I love is Gabe Davis. Working with him at UCF, he is quite the personality.
He is always one to dance as well, especially throughout practice. You can always look at Gabe Davis with the wide receivers, and if a good song is on, Gabe is going to be dancing to that good song. And his dog makes lots of appearances inside the facility. He's got a little Frenchie bulldog, and his name is Ghost, and we always see Ghost walking around here.
I love that. Not much has changed. But going back to Damar, you said he's now back at home with his parents. I think that was probably one of the toughest videos to watch, was how it was a pregame whenever he went up to hug his mom, and just seeing that relationship. Have you spoken to his family at all throughout this time, or how they're doing?
No, I haven't gotten to speak it. I haven't spoke to his family at all yet. But based on what we've heard from people who have been in touch with his parents and who have been around Damar, it's just, our general manager said it. He said there is no playbook on how to deal with an incident where your son or your daughter has a life-threatening injury, and these people, Damar's parents, should be people that you look to, because they've been absolutely amazing in this. Mario and Nina, they've done such a great job. And he said, I wish everybody had parents like Damar Hamlin does. And we've heard Damar talk about it a lot in interviews that I've done. I asked him, Damar, do you have anything else to share with us? Bills Mafia doesn't know you that well yet. What's a fun fact about you? And his fun fact is, I'm really close with my parents. Anytime I have a question or anytime I'm making a decision, I always want their advice on everything. He said that, they got together young, and they had Damar when they were very young as well. So it's just been a tight, close-knit family. And Damar has a younger brother as well, and he's close to them too. So it's cool to learn about, like I said, some of the stories that come out from things like this. So it's been really just how close Damar is to his parents, and how awesome his parents are as well.
Absolutely. Again, you're listening to Power Hour with Sammy Kincaid in the Strike and Spare studio, and I'm joined right now by Maddie Glab, the team reporter for the Buffalo Bills. And Maddie, before I let you go, we've talked about it early on in the show. The Bills are playing the Dolphins. You gave a little bit of some big keys, but what's your prediction? I mean, I kind of know what you're going to say. You're the team reporter. You got to say it, but let's get a prediction before you go.
I'm riding with my Bills. I am definitely riding with my Bills. It's the first time this season, Sammy, this is crazy. It's the first time this season this team has back-to-back home 1 o'clock games. They have been through the ringer in terms of night games, in terms of games getting moved places because of too much snow in the area. So to know that they have, for the first time all season, their back-to-back at-home 1 o'clock games, that's kind of in these players' DNA, is kind of working through a 1 o'clock game. It's what you know best. It's kind of what you want the most, because you wake up and then you prepare for the game right away. You're not hanging around waiting for the game to happen. So that's number one in my brain of why I'm picking the Bills. But this team, the way that they have come together this season, the things that they have been through, I think it's really going to propel them and inspire them here in the playoffs. We're getting players back. This has been a team that's been injured the entire season, and for the first time since the beginning of the season, it seems like they have most of the guys back, or most of the guys are making their way back to the field. And unfortunately, since Tua's out, Tua's such a big part of Miami's team, and with a quarterback who doesn't have as much experience, I think the defense is going to be able to do a good job of containing them. Now, I said again, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle are two fantastic players, so they're still going to be a problem. But I just think the Bills are going to get the job done and move on to the divisional round.
Yeah, well, I think hopefully at least I think it'll be a good game. But I really appreciate you joining me today, and we'll have to have you on again soon. But thank you again for joining me.
Yeah, of course, Sammy. Happy to be on.
Absolutely. Well, whenever we come back from break, we're going to have Cindy Ball-Malone, the head softball coach at UCF, joining us. We'll be right back after this break.
Hey guys, it's Zach. Now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Join today to get started with $150 in free bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. That's free bets back if your bet doesn't win. Just sign up with our promo code TAS. There's so many great deals. You can combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout with the same game parlay. And you get paid your winnings fast. All on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Don't fumble your chance to get $150 in free bets, win or lose, with promo code TAS. Make every moment more this season with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. In the state of Tennessee, you got to be 21 and up and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expire 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the TN Red Line 1-800-889-9789.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield, and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-785-9132. That's 800-785-9132. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-785-9132.
Hey Nashville, Ray here from Run With It. Let me tell you about our sponsor, Boom Boss Craft Pizza and Tap House. And with 4 locations in Bellevue, Murfreesboro, Spring Hill, and East Nashville, they're your home for the best gourmet pizza and craft beers in Music City. Join me on Monday nights at the East Nashville location for poker night. And if you think you know everything, try Wednesday night trivia at both locations. Gourmet pizzas, craft beers, online at BoomBozz.com. Boom Boss Craft Pizza and Tap House.
Realtors abide by a code of ethics. This is Article 9 in action. Beth, a first-time homebuyer, knew nothing about the home buying process. except that she wanted to buy a home. But her realtor had the expertise to make sure Beth understood every document, even giving her copies to review with her lawyer so Beth could close on her first home with confidence. Complicated things explained in simple terms. The difference between an agent and a realtor is real. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
WNSR Nashville Sports Radio would like to take this time to say congratulations to Greg Poe. Greg is a member of the 2023 class of the Tennessee Sports Writers Association Hall of Fame. Greg Poe has been a standard and staple of Nashville sports media. Congratulations to Greg Poe and the rest of the 2023 class of the Tennessee Sports Writers Association Hall of Fame. From your friends and family at WNSR Nashville Sports Radio. Now, This Girl Can, featuring your local female athlete of the week.
Welcome back into Power Hour with Sammy Kincaid. I'm Sammy Kincaid in the Strike and Spare studio. If you want to call in and talk to us on the Cure Hotline, 615-844-5600. Again, that's 615-844-5600. And I am beyond excited to be joined by one of my favorite coaches I have ever worked with at the University of Central Florida, UCF. She is the softball coach there, Cindy Ball-Malone, also known as Coach Bear. How you doing today, Coach Bear?
Doing great. It's a first off day after spring training, so it's an awesome day.
Oh, I bet. I bet it is. And before we get into you coaching and what you're doing now, why don't you just kind of give a little bit of background about who Cindy Ball-Malone is?
Well, I was born and raised in California, so most of my family's from Simi Valley, California. And I'm the oldest of 4 children in our family. So when I talk a lot about, being a mom and a coach, I felt like I learned how to be a mom a long time ago, just being the older sister of my 3 siblings. And so raised in a really tight-knit family, playing all kinds of sports, and softball seems to be the one that actually I picked up. It took the longest for me to figure it out, but it was the one I fell in love with. And so I just kind of rolled through that and got to play at University of the Pacific, and got to kind of extend my career there into a coaching career and get my master's. And yeah, it just kind of followed the game of softball and found the love of my life through the game of softball. I think he loves softball more than I do, and I don't know how that's possible, but it is. And so just kind of made the stops along the way. We got married in 2014 and moved to Boise, Idaho, and we've just been a team within the team ever since. And so outside of, my coaching career, I have 4 children. I have my stepdaughter and my 3 sons. And they say that it gets easier when the boys get older, but now we're in the teenage years with our daughter. So, we love the challenge, I think. So, yeah, now just loving living in Florida and being outside all the time and getting to coach the best sport I think that's out there.
And I know that I saw you at the softball complex all the time, but I don't know who's there more, you or your husband. You're not exaggerating on that one.
That is so true.
Oh, it's fun how you bring your family around, though, and this is a show highlighting women in sports, and that is such a big part of trying to navigate that. And you, whenever I had just left UCF, you had a new one just a few months before that, and I can't even imagine trying to navigate coaching with a newborn.
Yeah, it's been interesting. When I had my first, right after my first season at Boise State, and coaching softball and, surrounding my life around softball had always been really like everything came second. And then all of a sudden now there's someone that comes, in front of it. And I have to go back to, that's why my husband and I work so well as far as being a team, because he says, well, you got to do this and you got to do this and you got to recruit, and like the program needs it. So he gets it and understands it. And there's a lot of people in this world that don't understand that, and being a coach's spouse is really hard. But yeah, taking care of the little ones, you got to have a good teammate. And my husband's a great father, great supporter, and so it's really, really cool to be able to do what I do. And you know, he takes over the load at home. He's the head coach at home, so it's not like most houses, but we love it, and it's really cool to be able to go, you know, pick up my kid, and the first thing he says is, "That's my mom. She coaches at UCF," and just they're so proud, and you know, it's fun that they get to watch that.
Absolutely, and being a head coach's spouse or a coach's spouse in general, that's a lot of responsibility, and a lot goes into it that a lot don't know if you're not in the industry. And so that's actually something I think I want to get some of those spouses on. So I might be calling you to get your husband on there to come be a guest, because it is a very interesting perspective. But before we get into even more coaching, I want to take it back. You've talked about how softball has been your life, your entire life. So let's take it back to your playing days. You mentioned you played at Pacific. What were some of those? What was that like playing collegiately?
Gosh, I like just thinking about it. It was, you know, some days it depended on the day you caught me on. It was the best day of my life, or sometimes it was like the world's crumbling down because I can't spot my curveball. You know, so it's really truly where I learned my true identity, and you just learn all the skills of life in the sport, and the consequences and risks are so, like, you can take these huge risks with very minimal consequences, whereas in life, you know, it's hard to take risks and not have those consequences. So I think that being able to play a sport and get your education at the same time and develop lifelong relationships and friendships. You know, our teammates, we may not see each other here or there, but I hadn't seen them in years since our team got inducted into the Hall of Fame, and I think we got inducted in 2014. And this past year, we took our team out to Pacific to play, and a ton of my teammates were there, and it was like we had never been apart. So I truly believe that it created like my identity. It helped me find my strengths. It allowed me to understand that being vulnerable is a strength, and to navigate this world, because it's not impossible. And especially as a woman, you know, trying to do things and, you know, break through doors and accomplish as much as you can and have a family. It's not impossible, but it is not easy either.
Yeah, not easy, but it is doable. And I'm going to stop you for a second, because you said maybe sometimes your curveball wasn't what it's supposed to be. I'm just going to read this real quick. It says that you hold pitching records at Pacific in appearances with 149 starts, innings pitched, wins, saves, strikeouts per 7 innings, complete games, and shutouts with 45 shutouts. I don't think that your curveball wasn't not hitting too often. Pretty impressive.
Well, I think it may have not been hitting, but no one else knew if you had the good poker face. So that's one thing you got to learn in the sport as well.
Yeah, no, you had an incredible playing career and also an all-star in the Canada Cup. What was that like, playing in that?
You know, playing internationally was just something pretty special, because they see the game at a different level. I don't know how to describe it. It's not like, oh, the talent is so much better, but it's just more experienced. And when you're playing internationally, it's only softball. You know, there's not school attached to it. There's not, you know, the strength and conditioning is what you make it, not necessarily the whole entire team. And so it was really exciting to be able to play against different countries, see what other countries valued in our sport, and how they approached it, and just, you know, getting to meet new people through sport. So, being able to play in Italy and live in Italy for the summer after graduating was also like one of the toughest things to do. But I wouldn't have I think the courage to just take those risks if I hadn't had those memories and those experiences.
Absolutely. And I highly encourage going to school, furthering your education. But I will say, talking about going international, I don't think you can learn anything more than whenever you do travel. Traveling just personally has taught me so much in life, and just seeing the different cultures. And what was your favorite place that you got to go play in? You just mentioned Italy, but is that your favorite, or was there another favorite?
Oh, gosh. I've been blessed to play in a lot of cool places. So I think each place may tie like a favorite type of memory. What was really cool and special to me is when I did play in Italy, Coach Tar, who's the head coach at University of Washington, she was our assistant coach when I played at Pacific. And she was coaching and teaching clinics in the elementary schools that summer in Germany. So on one of our game weekend, like we had a bye weekend, I traveled by train to Germany and stayed with her for a night. And so I got to watch her run this clinic at the elementary school, and then we kind of traveled around Germany. And it was neat because here I was living in Italy, and she studied Spanish in school, and I studied German in high school. So like we had been in the wrong countries. Like she's asking me, how do we get around in Germany? And it's like, I need you when I'm back in Italy. Being able to play right near Florence and then get to tour Florence after those games. I mean, we would play, I want to say it was like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then we were off Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So if we traveled to a city, we could stay in that city and then get our way back to our home city for practices on Tuesday. And so I got to explore all of Italy, and then, up above them, like going to Germany on all of our off weekends. So that was truly just to have that experience, be away from home. I think I cried and then would be awed by the different churches and like just all the cool history and culture that we got to see. And then I'd cry at night because I'd miss my family, so it was like all these different emotions coming about. But I would say those were some of my favorite places to go play and experience, the full effect of being somewhere.
Absolutely. And to kind of go back just a little bit to the college days, what would you say was the biggest lesson you learned as a player?
Well, when I was at University of Pacific, I think at my first year, we had a total of about 4,000 students. And that was
a little different than UCF.
A little different than UCF, yeah. But that was that included our undergrad school, the School of Dentistry, the School of Law, and the Physical Therapy School. So you're talking about not just undergrads, right?
Right.
And these other schools are in like San Francisco, Sacramento, and so that was the combined enrollment. And we had this team in my junior year that was one game away from the World Series. And we weren't fully funded at that time. I want to say Coach operated maybe off of 10 scholarships, or a fully funded team of 12. And I want to say we had maybe 15 players, where this year we carry 25, and we were one game away from the World Series. And so it was truly just like, it doesn't matter what you have, that our jerseys might not have been the best Nike brand that we were playing against, the team, our opponent, but we're still one game away from the World Series. And I remember that little in-between game snack sitting under the trees on the lacrosse field at Stanford, like, holy cow, we do our thing. We're going to Oklahoma City with this little team from Stockton, California. So pretty spectacular how all of that could come about with, a group of 15 players that, if you watched our practice field, we didn't even have like a bullpen to warm up in. It was like this dirt area. But here we are knocking off these top 8 teams, these top 10 teams, and just doing what we love.
Yeah, that's very special, and we haven't even really scratched the surface. We haven't even gotten into you coaching yet. So is it okay if you stick around with me through the break and we can touch on coaching here in just a minute?
Absolutely, would love to.
Awesome. Well, we'll be right back after this break. You're listening into Power Hour with Sammy Kincaid. We'll be back right after this.
I studied Spanish in college and never got fluent. But then I tried Babbel.
Want the most effective way to learn another language? In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel's bite-sized lessons will have you learning another language in as little as 3 weeks.
Babbel is all conversation-based, so it gets you speaking quickly about things you actually talk about in the real world.
You'll really see a difference in how you can speak and how conversational you can be in just a few weeks.
Babbel isn't just lessons. You can listen to podcasts, play games, watch videos. You can even take live online classes with a language teacher. There are so many ways to learn with Babbel.
The lessons online and in the app make it easy to learn from pretty much anywhere.
University studies have shown that using Babbel for 15 hours is equivalent to a semester of college Spanish. If you want to learn a new language, there's no better way than Babbel. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hi, this is Joe Cordell with the law firm Cordell & Cordell. When the prospect of divorce becomes a reality, you need a partner that you can count on. If you're a man in this situation, consider contacting Cordell & Cordell. We've helped men navigate complex legal matters for 30 years.
Online at CordellCordell.com, 317-322-0122, 101 West Ohio Street, Suite 1250, Indianapolis, Indiana, 46204. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois only.
NFL Plus is here, which means no matter where you are, this is how you football. You can stream live, local, and primetime regular season games on your phone or tablet, 45-minute game replays, and more. That's how you do it right there. This is the NFL for every fan. This is football freedom. This is your game on the go. Wherever you are, this is how you football. Go to plus.nfl.com/radio and start your free trial of NFL Plus today. Terms and conditions apply.
We're going to get into our routine with Daily Tennessee Jackpot. You got $1? Let's have some fun with it. Let's get those numbers going. How many are we picking? And 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 5. Let's go. All of us Tennesseans are having fun now. Let's play and play.
Work out a win with drawings every day when you play Daily Tennessee Jackpot. Only from the Tennessee Lottery. Game-changing fun. Please play responsibly.
It's the afternoon stretch with Zach Williams and Bruno Reagan.
Coming off his second straight SEC win, this one at the bank. Clark Lee, thanks so much for joining us.
Hey, this is my favorite time of the week to be with you guys, so I'm happy to be here.
If you think that's not going to be on a promo, Clark, you are sadly mistaken,
Clark,
sir.
you just made the haters so furious, so thank you very much.
The afternoon stretch. Afternoon stretch with Zach Williams and Bruno Reagan.
And now it's time to shine the spotlight on this week's coach or player. From college to the pros, this is Shattered Ceilings.
Welcome back to Power Hour with Sammy Kincaid. I'm Sammy Kincaid in the Strike and Spare studio. Call and talk to us on the Cure Hotline, 615-844-5600. And I am still joined by Coach Cindy Baum-Malone, Coach Bear. She was with us last segment, and I convinced her to stick around with us for a little bit longer because we didn't even get to scratch the surface on your coaching career. And so you're now at UCF, the University of Central Florida. And how did you mentioned it in the last segment but for those that weren't listening, how did you get there?
Yeah, so I was at Boise State, and in 2018 we had won the conference for the first time in school history and made it to regionals. And Brandy Stewart, who I had grown up playing against in travel ball from Southern California, calls me up and says, hey, it's like, hey, how are you? What are you doing? And she says, I'm at UCF and I'd like to talk to you and bring you out. And it's like, what? And, I never in a million years imagined living on the East Coast. I've been a West Coast girl all my life. And I was actually kind of napping in my rental car in Portland, Oregon, getting ready to work at camp. And so I immediately get on the phone and I call my husband. He's like, I didn't think about, we're going to probably have these calls when you get success. And it's like, yeah. So I came and checked it out and told them no thank you. And they called me back and, gave me another awesome offer. And I said, no thank you. And then finally they called me back again and I was like, all right. And they said, we're going to fly your family out here. And so they flew my family out here and we fell in love with it and we haven't looked back since.
And the show is in Nashville, so Danny White is a name that people have, they've learned his name with him being at Tennessee now. And whenever he wants to make a business deal, he's not taking no for an answer, so that does not surprise me. He came at you 3 different times.
No, he is one of the smartest men in the industry. I'll tell you that. And just from how his brain works, he won us over. So big believer in Danny White.
Absolutely. And I don't think I would have wanted to be around for those travel ball games with you and Brandy Stewart. I don't know who would be more competitive between the two of you. That would be pretty interesting to watch.
Oh, pretty feisty. She tries to say that I was the ruthless one, but I mean,
she's pretty feisty.
I agree.
No, Brandy's she's definitely somebody that needs to be on the show as well as a senior administrator in college athletics. It's incredible what she's done as well, but I love that story. And as a coach that was a very successful player, how do you take your playing days and use that to help you relate more to your student athletes?
Yeah, I mean, I said this just a little bit ago when I was talking to somebody from University of the Pacific. They asked me about what it meant to me, and I said, my why still is some of those teammates. And so our success here at UCF has been built off of our culture. I mean, we have some talented women on the field and off the field, but our culture and our buy-in to each other is really why we win. It's who we are, and it's why we win. And so just the ability to be able to experience that myself with my teammates and have that trusting inner circle, we've really carried that on over here. And so I would say those, along with, many of the failures as a player, has helped me, and then the successes as well. But, I mean, highly competitive people that play the game at a high level, we always remember our losses, right? And then very rarely do we want to focus on our wins because we are always wanting to get better. And so I remember those times of the pain and, the suffering and the heartache. And those are the moments that I'm just honest and share with the team, and they let me talk still. So I'm blessed for them to let me have my moment as a head coach here. So.
Well, they're very blessed, especially that pitching staff, to have you as their head coach. I know we've talked plenty of times about Aaliyah White. Aaliyah was on the show about a month ago, and she's now coaching, and very excited for her. But for those that are listening that are maybe playing softball right now that want to also take that route and start coaching, what's your piece of advice to them?
Well, do it, because we need more of our women in our industry doing this, because we can have it all. We can have the life, the family, and coach. So I think do it. I also think more of us women need to take the risk of going across the country and moving your family across the country. It doesn't happen. A lot of people turn those down. But I think we have to do it because this sport deserves the best people that have played the game in it. And then the next piece of advice that I would say is it's not about the knowledge of what you know in the game. It's all about taking care of the people in it.
I absolutely love that. And before we go, I know that with your team, you have a notebook that they have. Can you talk to me a little bit about the notebook? Because I feel like that also, it really speaks to the culture that you have on your team.
Yeah. So it's a handbook that, like, the front page is usually the mantra of the year. And that sometimes comes up, like, right at the beginning of summer, or like this year, I want to say in the 11th hour of being able to get it printed. And then within that handbook, the very first page is like everything UCF on one page. It's a one-page header. It's kind of like our resume, if you will. And so it's got the things that are going to be important to us, what we want to accomplish, goals, how we're going to do it, the process, and then our 5 core values are always at the bottom. They're the foundation of who we are. And so our 5 core values are team first, competitor, disciplined, nice, honor, and belief. And we live those core values daily. They have T-shirts that they're like boring old cotton T-shirts with one core value on it. And they wear those shirts. They don't get their actual UCF logo until someone on the team has recognized them for exuding that core value. And then they get nominated, and they get to hand them over their logo shirt. So our handbook has, like, every scenario in it, how we roll, what we do, our expectations, our standards, and it travels with us everywhere. We document, we journal. It's definitely, I'm a teacher by trade. Like, that's just how I roll. And so they have a curriculum. They just took a test yesterday on our last day of spring training. And they're like, this is worse than my class test. And then someone else said, it is amazing the amount of information we know about this sport. And so they're just, it's just awesome to see how they take it. Like, they will take any obstacle we throw at them. They love it. They love the challenge. They love the handbook. They love just the structure of it. A real quick funny story. So Gianna Mancha and Justine Molina started at Boise State with me. I recruited them there. And when they went on the transfer portal and I brought them over, they said, hey, are we going to have that handbook here? And I was like, ooh, how do I answer this? I can't tell if they like it. All right, I just got to be honest. Here we go. Yep. And they said, oh, good. I don't know how we got through this past year without it, but we need it back. So
awesome.
Because, they had 1 year where I wasn't coaching them at Boise State before they transferred over. And so what it told me was even the highest level athletes want that structure and discipline and that, like, team culture.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely fantastic. And I think implementing that into your daily routine, I think you've seen success so quickly at UCF, and I think that has a lot to do with it because of having those core fundamental values around your team. So I really appreciate you passing on some knowledge to those listening that may be interested in becoming a coach one day, and I appreciate you sharing your story with me and everyone else today, and I wish you the best. I'm looking forward to how y'all do this season.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And big fan of you. Keep doing what you're doing. I'm following you. It's awesome.
I appreciate it, Coach Bear. Well, stick with us. We have a little bit more for you on Power Hour with Sammy Kincaid. We'll be right back after this break.
Nashville's first curling venue is here at T-Line Nashville. Come check out T-Line Nashville and experience the world's fastest growing winter sport today. Curling is a fun and simple sport that's a perfect outing for friends, corporate events, families, or parties. T-Line also has classic bowling and modern bowling mini games. With over 20 HD TVs, you can come watch your favorite teams and some of the best food and drinks here in Nashville in the large bar and grill area. They also have an outdoor area with a fire pit, and you can't forget the live music. T-Line Nashville is a one-stop shop for a great night out. Located at 106 Duluth Avenue and online at tlinenash.com. You can book your party now or give them a call at 615-439-1024. That's 615-439-1024. And make sure you give them a follow on Instagram and Facebook at T-Line Nash for all the news, events, and updates. T-Line Nashville. Nashville's first curling venue is here. It's never a bad time to have a good time at Strike and Spare Family Fun Center. And that's exactly what WNSR Nashville Sports Radio will be doing Friday, January 20th, with not one but two shows broadcasting live from Tusculum Lanes on Nolensville Pike. That's right, the Greg Pogue and John Burton Show from 9 to 11, the McFarland Show with Darren and Justin from 2 to 4. Both shows broadcasting live from Tusculum Lanes. And you're invited to come bowl, eat, drink, and just hang out with the guys and WNSR listeners and receive a discount on bowling and food during the broadcast. That's Friday, January 20th. The Greg Pogue and John Burton Show from 9 to 11. The McFarland Show with Darren and Justin from 2 to 4. Two shows, one location, one station. Broadcasting live from Strike and Spare Tusculum Lanes. Located at 5315 Nolensville Pike. Friday the 20th. On the road, on the air, and everywhere with WNSR, Nashville Sports Radio. As a professional realtor in Nashville for more than 40 years, Richard Courtney is one of the city's top-ranked real estate brokers. He's also the author of 2 books and the real estate columnist for the Nashville Ledger. What does all of this mean to you as a home buyer or seller? Expert knowledge, guidance, and trust. Give Richard Courtney a call today at 615-300-8189. That's 615-300-8189. Or online at richardcourtney.com. Howdy, folks. I'm back to remind you about the best steakhouse in Music City, Bob's Steak and Chop House. The only place in Middle Tennessee to get A5 Wagyu steaks cooked to perfection. And when that special day rolls around to treat that special someone, make your reservation now at Bob's Steak and Chop House. From petite fillets to massive tomahawk ribeyes. When somebody asks where's the beef, you tell them Bob's Steak and Chop House. Make your Valentine's Day reservations now and treat the best in your life with the best in Nashville. Bob's Steak and Chop House at the Omni Nashville Hotel.
Jim Rome is here weekdays 11 to 2 on Nashville Sports Radio, WNSR.
The SEC is for closers, and there's only one way to survive in the SEC, ABC. A always, B, B, C, closing, always be closing.
A, B, C. A always, B, B, C, closing. Always be closing.
Jim Rome, 11 to 2 on Nashville's original sports radio, WNSR.
We're checking out the headlines, the highlights, and the stories from the world of women's athletics. Time to go around the hour.
Welcome back to Power Hour with Sammy Kincaid. I'm Sammy Kincaid in the Strike and Spare studio, and I just want to give a big thank you for Maddie Glab, the Bills team reporter, coming on talking to us about DeMar and his remarkable recovery and really hoping him the best as he continues to recover from just a scary situation. And next week, we'll actually have on Star Physical Therapy to talk a little bit more from the athletic trainer's point of view about everything that has really unfolded in the last couple of weeks and from that scary situation. And also, thank you so much to Cindy Baum-Malone for coming on and just talking to us about your playing days, her coaching days. It's always a great time to catch up with some of my favorite coaches I've ever been able to work with. So again, thank you all for listening today. Again, Power Hour with Sammy Kincaid, and we'll see you here again next week.